In modern elite football, the standard for success is visible effort. The game demands relentless physical output, endless sprints, and high-intensity pressing to compete. But the data from the 2026 World Cup reveals a massive statistical anomaly. Out of 618 outfield players, Lionel Messi covered the least amount of ground per match. He spent up to 95% of his time on the pitch at a walking pace, earning him a rank of 618, dead last. To the untrained eye, a player walking during a high-stakes match appears disengaged or physically spent. We are conditioned to equate kinetic movement with productivity and dedication. Yet Messi ended the tournament with 8 goals, 3 assists, and the winner's trophy. He outperformed every other athlete while moving less than almost anyone else in the history of the sport. This wasn't a sign of decline, but a calculated strategy shared by the masters of the global equity markets. It is a philosophy that rejects low-probability action in favor of intense observation and explosive execution at the point of maximum mathematical expectancy. Whether on the pitch or the trade floor, the goal is the same: the high-stakes discipline of strategic inactivity. The hardest part of this strategy is fighting the biological urge to look busy. In professional football, goalkeepers dive to the left or right on 94% of penalty kicks. Statistically, they would save more goals by simply standing still in the center, but they dive anyway. They prioritize their reputation over the math, because diving looks like effort, while standing still looks like apathy. Portfolio managers face the exact same pressure. When macroeconomic news breaks, they often feel compelled to trade. This triggers a wave of unnecessary, friction-heavy turnover as managers try to prove to their clients that they are actively navigating the market. Messi ignores this pressure. During the opening minutes of a match, he intentionally avoids the ball to conduct a spatial audit. He scans how the defenders move, identifying the exact geometric weaknesses in their structure. By the time he finally receives a pass, his physical execution is merely the final, localized manifestation of a continuous observational process. He isn't reacting to the game, he is executing a map he has already drawn. To know when to move, you need a filter. Baseball legend Ted Williams used a 77-cell matrix to map his strike zone. He knew that if he only swung at pitches in his sweet spot, he'd bat .400. If he became impatient and reached for balls on the corners, his average plummeted. Warren Buffett applied this logic to the stock market, calling it a no-called strike game. In investing, there is no umpire to penalize you for letting mediocre opportunities pass. You can wait months for a business to hit your target price without being called out. Messi treats the pitch the same way. He ignores the 50-50 duels and heavily congested zones that drain finite metabolic energy. Swinging at a low-probability play early leaves him too exhausted to capitalize on a high-probability opening in the 85th minute. He stays strictly within his physical circle of competence. During the 2026 tournament, he confined himself almost entirely to the right half space, waiting for the defense to fracture so he could apply his energy exactly where his impact is mathematically highest. This level of success requires unwavering selectivity. You have to ignore the noise of the crowd and act only when the structural conditions of the game dictate a high probability of success. Of course, standing still for 85 minutes is only possible if the rest of the system can carry the load. This is the asset leverage principle. Successful organizations don't ask their most valuable contributors to do everything. They build bespoke systems designed to subsidize their inactivity. The Argentine national team used a high-intensity midfield engine to protect Messi's physical reserves. Players like Rodrigo de Paul covered the immense distances and handled the defensive tackling, allowing the team's most decisive mind to focus exclusively on systemic exploitation. This parallels the structure of Berkshire Hathaway. The reliable, continuous cash flow from subsidiaries like Geico provides the capital cushion that allows Warren Buffett to sit patiently on a cash pile for years until the right business becomes available. Strategic inactivity isn't an isolated act of will. It is a structural privilege made possible by a high-intensity defensive foundation. The final barrier to this strategy is emotional. When a market crashes or a game enters the final minutes, the human brain experiences a loss aversion response. The amygdala floods the system with fear, screaming for immediate action to alleviate the pressure. Messi has the rare capacity to suppress this panic. Even when his team is tied or trailing in the final minutes of a knockout match, he refuses to let the anxiety of the crowd dictate his output. He trusts his map and waits for the space to open. Warren Buffett showed the same detachment during the dot-com bubble. He was ridiculed for refusing to chase tech stocks he didn't understand, underperforming the broader market for a brief public period. He remained emotionally decoupled from the crowd until the bubble inevitably burst. Mastery requires overriding these primitive neurobiological responses. You act only when the conditions are in your favor, not to soothe your own anxiety. Value isn't created through constant motion. Motion is a cost, metabolic, financial, and psychological. While 617 other athletes burned their physical reserves on runs that led nowhere, Messi used a cognitive economy to secure a World Cup at 39 years old. Mastery belongs to those with the discipline to stand still while the crowd screams, waiting for the mathematical certainty of the fat pitch. To operate like this, you have to map the field and observe the data without emotional bias. The Deep Values app is designed to help you do exactly that. Search for the Buffett indicator on Apple or Bubble Watch on Google Play to start mapping the market with precision.